The story begins inside a university, where a zombie virus suddenly breaks out. At first, only a handful of people turn into zombies really fast, and those infected students start biting others one after another. Every passing minute, one healthy person becomes 5 infected, and the number of zombies keeps growing without stopping. Soon the entire campus is swarming with them, and only a tiny group of survivors is left, each one desperately trying to protect themselves. In the middle of all this chaos, the girl who turned into a zombie first suddenly attacks her own classmate, San. San barely escapes from her when another zombie leaps at him from behind. To save himself, he pushes that zombie away and grabs an iron rod lying nearby. With all his strength, he swings it and drives it straight into the zombie's body. Right when that zombie is about to die, San notices something strange. The zombie's partner, another infected student, starts panicking and suffering as if feeling the pain too. It becomes clear that these zombies somehow share an emotional connection with each other. Trying to stay alive, San's entire group rushes into the science faculty department. Ning, trembling with fear, immediately plugs her phone into a charger and calls her professor, begging him to take care of her mom. The professor asks her about her brother Nan, but Ning tells him Nan isn't with them. Before the professor can say anything else, Ning quickly hangs up because the noise around them has already attracted more zombies toward the lab. Confused and worried by Ning's phone call, the professor turns on the TV to check the news. That's when he finds out an emergency has been declared across Bangkok because the zombie virus has spread through Bangkok University as well. The professor then goes to see Ning's mother, whose condition is extremely bad. While looking at her, he also looks at an antidote vial, but he chooses not to inject it into her yet. Back at the university, Ning's whole group jumps from the lab window onto the lab balcony. From there, Ning notices her brother Nan and his group surviving inside the building across from them. Seeing him safe gives Ning a moment of relief, and she immediately calls him so they can plan an escape together. But before they can even talk, a zombie suddenly falls from the upper floor right in front of them. Startled, the group screams out loud, and the zombies nearby begin moving toward them. Right after this, the scene cuts and takes us back to a few days earlier. A group of students is seen recording the behavior of zombies, but the zombie isn't real. It's just a girl acting like one. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, Ning's mother is shown extremely sick, with no treatment working for her. Ning is terribly worried because her family doesn't have enough money for proper medical care. That's why Ning went to her professor in the first place, to ask for help finding a cure. The professor, however, tells her she can become a part of his research project. If she agrees, she will get paid, and they might also be able to discover a cure for her mother's illness. After speaking with the professor, Ning goes home with her friend San. Inside the house, San notices a sweater hanging on the wall, and out of nowhere, strange visions flash in his mind. He sees a girl being murdered in those visions. As he stands there, lost in that disturbing image, Ning's brother Nan arrives home too. Ning tells both her brother and her friend about the professor's proposal. Right then, she also receives a call from the professor asking for her final decision. And the story jumps back to the present. It's already evening, and both groups are still hiding on the balcony, one group trapped here and the other stuck on the staircase. If everyone moves together, the zombies will hear them and swarm instantly. So the survivors decide to escape in small groups instead. One group comes up with a plan. They will turn on a loudspeaker to draw the zombies toward the noise, and while the zombies move away, they will escape from behind. They switch on a radio and play the news at full volume, preparing to run. But they don't realize a zombie is still sitting silently on top of a tree nearby. Out of nowhere, it jumps down and attacks Nan's friend. Nan tries to save him but ends up getting bitten on his leg. The others manage to kill the zombie, lift Nan up, and drag him along with them, but now they're terrified because Nan might already be infected. Meanwhile, the professor finally injects the antidote into Ning's mother. But inside the university, another problem has arrived. The entire campus has been cut off from all facilities. There's no running water, no electricity, no gas, and even mobile signals have been shut down. All they have is a tiny radio through which they hear the news that rescue helicopters will arrive at exactly 10 a.m. the next morning to evacuate any survivors. Ning rushes to the university's control room, turns on the announcement speakers, and broadcasts a message to every survivor on campus. She tells them that rescue teams are coming at sunrise and asks everyone to gather on the university rooftop. But before she can finish her announcement, the university generators shut down completely. At the same moment, rain starts pouring outside. In that rain-soaked scene, we see all the zombies coming out into the open, dancing and enjoying the rainfall like strange, twisted creatures. Morning finally arrives, and we see two students running for their lives, trying to reach the university's rooftop so they could get rescued too. But the moment the rescue helicopter comes closer, the loud noise attracts a huge number of zombies who begin chasing them. Both of them rush toward a truck and climb inside, hoping they can hide, but the zombies still keep surrounding them from every side. One of the boys kicks a zombie away from the truck with all his strength, and both students quickly slip out, one hiding on the roof of the truck and the other crouching underneath it. For a second, they're certain this is the end for them. But suddenly, the sound of gunfire echoes nearby, pulling the zombies away in another direction. By sheer luck, both boys survive. The scene cuts to the past again. We see Ning's family at home. Ning's brother, Nan, was feeling extremely jealous because San got a brand new phone. He even tells their mom that San bought it using his friend's money. But Ning explains that she paid for it using her savings. Nan's mom comforts him and promises she'll buy him a new phone too. After that, she leaves home for work, and we learn that she works as a food delivery rider. But this time, she wasn't heading to a hotel for delivery. Instead, she secretly meets a strange man. She tells him she needs 2 to 3 latest, identical phone models. The guy smirks and asks, "So, are you ready?" Ning's mom nods without hesitation. Immediately, the man covers her face with a black cloth and takes her to a hidden location. When the cloth is removed, she finds herself inside a scientific lab. She goes into a storage room to change her clothes, but suddenly she hears screams from somewhere nearby. Following the sounds, she discovers a girl lying on the floor, bleeding heavily, and standing right in front of her is San. She calls out his name in shock. This is the same moment we had seen earlier in San's flashback. San stays silent, but their other friend starts threatening Ning's mom instead. She tries to run, but the boy suddenly collapses on his own. His eyes change color, the veins on his face bulge, and his entire body begins to convulse violently. Ning's mom kneels beside him, trying desperately to hold him steady. Now everyone starts accusing San, asking what he did to that girl and to their friend Joe. The scene cuts again, and we see Ning's mom sitting inside a meeting room with the man who brought her here. He turns out to be a scientist, and they're meeting with a powerful businessman, Joe's grandfather, whose condition has recently gotten better. Ning's mom explains that Joe's condition was due to a drug overdose. To stabilize him, she injected him with a vaccine called ensemble, which wasn't fully developed yet and no one knew its side effects. Because she used the unfinished vaccine without permission, the officials immediately remove her from the project. They also strictly order that even after Joe recovers, he must remain inside the lab for observation. They have to monitor how the experimental antidote affects him. As the other scientists leave the room, Joe's grandfather tells Ning's mom that even though the authorities removed her, he still wants her to continue working on the project, and he can make it happen. Feeling ashamed and defeated, Ning's mom picks up the same vaccine and injects it into her own body right in front of him. She says, "Whatever side effects Joe will suffer, I will suffer them too, and I will find a cure for all of us." Then she makes him promise that if she fails to create the antidote, he won't harm her children. But if she succeeds, he must help her take her kids abroad and give them a safe life. Heartbroken and overwhelmed, Ning's mom returns home in tears. Ning asks, "Mom, what happened?" But she lies and says it was just a fight with the hotel staff. The scene shifts again, back to the present inside the university. All the survivors are gathered in a room. Nan records zombies walking right outside the door, and everyone watches the video in fear. San checks the temperature. It's 25 degrees Celsius now. He tells everyone that something is definitely different about these zombies. In the morning, when the temperature was 31 degrees Celsius, they were completely aggressive. But now, in the cooler temperature, they look calm. Not only that, but they still show emotional connections. Didn't you see? San says. When the first zombie died, Jane, our own classmate who turned, was hurting for him. That means their emotions aren't gone. Everyone begins discussing the strange behavior of these zombies. Somehow, the entire night passes while they hide in fear, waiting for morning so they can reach the rooftop. As the sun rises, they enter the cleaning sector and grab as many tools as they can. They know zombies could appear at any moment, and they'll need weapons to fight their way through. As soon as the survivors start climbing up, they notice something shocking. Every person who had turned into a zombie is suddenly back at their original duties in the morning. The janitors are cleaning the hallways. The librarian is organizing books. The zombie students are calmly sitting down to study. Even though they're zombies, their brains still seem to work. The survivors try to sneak out of the library quietly, but suddenly one girl's phone starts ringing loudly. All the zombies instantly turn toward the sound. The girl panics and tries to run, but one zombie grabs her and bites her leg, then stands up and sinks its teeth into her neck. Her friends try to save her, but the rest of the group is already ahead. When her group realizes their two friends are in trouble, they rush back. But by then, it's too late. Another zombie has already attacked the second girl, and the first girl has now turned into a zombie herself. Their own friend is now coming after them. The survivors run toward the stairs, trying to escape her, but even more zombies appear behind them. They fight using whatever tools and makeshift weapons they grabbed earlier. Meanwhile, Ning and the others finally reach the rooftop. They spot the helicopter approaching and start waving frantically to get its attention. That's when Ning suddenly remembers her younger brother, Nan. Panicked, she runs back down the staircase to search for him. Meanwhile, the girl who turned into a zombie earlier is still chasing the two boys who had hidden inside the truck. To get away from her, both boys jump into the swimming pool, then the zombie jumps in after them. They hold their breath underwater for as long as they can, waiting until the zombie passes out in the water. Back on the rooftop, Nan's entire group also arrives, but from the other staircase, the one Ning wasn't searching in. Ning is still on the wrong side, trying to find him. Suddenly, a zombie spots her. She freezes for a moment, then notices an entire swarm of zombies rushing up the stairs toward her. She immediately realizes the zombies will kill everyone on the rooftop. She runs up and shouts for everyone to escape. The survivors obey her and start moving toward the other staircase, but the zombies reach the rooftop at the same time. The helicopter arrives too, and without checking who's human or who's infected, it starts shooting everyone on sight. Seeing this, the survivors are terrified and begin to wonder whether the helicopter came to rescue them or to wipe them all out. Meanwhile, we see Pao, the boy who was attacked earlier by his zombie friend. Everyone believed he was infected and wanted to throw him out of the group. But Pao's brother and friend try to convince everyone that he isn't infected. The blood on him belonged to the zombie girl, not him. The group keeps moving forward, and then they see their other zombie friend approaching from the opposite side. Something strange happens. Pao feels an emotional connection to her, almost like he can still sense her as a friend. This makes everyone even more suspicious that Pao might actually be infected. Before Pao gets any closer, an axe comes flying out of nowhere and hits the zombie girl right in the head. It turns out another group of survivors had thrown it. Now both survivor groups unite with each other. The scene shifts back to the past again. For months earlier, Ning had just started working in the lab with the professor. After finishing her tasks, she messages him and stores her experiment samples in the freezer before leaving. Later, she meets the professor in person and asks, "When will you treat my mom? When will you cure her illness? Her condition is getting worse every day. We don't have much time." The professor reassures her that they will find a solution soon. Ning also expresses how uncomfortable she is with using humans as test subjects. But the professor tells her, "You just do the work you're assigned. Whether experiments happen on monkeys, rats, or humans, that's for the authorities to decide." As Ning leaves, the same man who had first brought her mom into the lab walks into the professor's office. He says Joe's condition is getting worse and that the professor must find an antidote soon. If he fails, Joe's grandfather and father will destroy not just them, but their entire company. Furious, he warns the professor that he has only 3 days left to finish the project, and from now on he is not allowed to take Ning's help. The professor must do everything alone. The scene cuts back to the present. The survivors enter the university gym to find food. They eat, but the moment they calm down, the fear returns. How will they escape this university? They already saw with their own eyes that the military doesn't want to rescue them. Now, whatever happens, they must figure out how to survive on their own. The professor was still busy working on his research, and during that time he found a scientist's old report in his office, filled with many pictures of jellyfish. He studied that research carefully, and then he began doing experiments on jellyfish himself. That's when he discovered something shocking. There are some jellyfish in the world that actually have immortal powers, meaning they never truly die. As soon as he learned this, he immediately called the same man who had challenged him to finish the antidote quickly and told him to bring jellyfish right away. On the other side, in the present time, we see the survivors again. They were sitting together trying to figure out how they could escape the university. That's when San showed everyone the videos of zombies that he had captured on his camera. As they watched the footage, they all noticed something surprising. Every zombie was moving in the same direction, not wandering randomly. It felt like they were following someone's instructions. From this clue, they understood that there had to be a leader among the zombies. Maybe some kind of queen zombie, just like bees and insects who follow their queen. One girl said that if they could find this leader or queen and kill her, then maybe they could destroy or control all the other zombies too. A few days later, the professor visited an old lady who worked at the university. He told her that he could stop her aging and cure all the diseases that come with growing old. All she needed was one injection from him. The only condition was that after he injected her, no matter what happened to her, she was not allowed to go to any doctor. She should only come to him. Hearing this made the old lady a bit nervous, but when the professor said that she would be paid a huge amount of money, she agreed. Along with this old lady, the professor had convinced many other people to participate in his experiment as well. That night, when he was secretly taking all of them to his lab, a boy named Gene saw him. And now, in the present, Gene remembered that entire moment clearly. He began to realize that this zombie outbreak must be the result of that experiment the professor did on those people that night. While Gene was lost in these thoughts, some survivors stood up and said they couldn't just sit here doing nothing. They had to find the zombie leader and kill it. So, a group of boys decided to go near the zombies and secretly record videos to observe who the leader was. Nen also joined the group, even though Ling begged him not to. Hiding carefully, the group stood outside the auditorium while recording the zombies inside. And then it became clear, every single zombie was following the old lady. Even the way she moved her hands, the zombies copied exactly the same. Gene immediately recognized her as the same old lady who had been with the professor. He finally understood that she was their leader, and she was the one they needed to kill. At the same time, we see Pao again. The one everyone suspected was infected. And now he suddenly attacked one of his friends. The entire group struggled to pull him away and save the boy. Pao's brother felt deeply ashamed and tried to explain that Pao wasn't infected. He said the problem wasn't the virus, it was Pao's mental condition, which had been unstable for a long time. After seeing Pao's behavior, the group locked him inside a room and kept the boy he attacked somewhere else. But one girl felt sorry for Pao and went to free him. When she tried opening the door, Pao told her, "Look at these zombies, at least they stay together. But we humans? We walk separately, disconnected. I don't like how humans behave. That's why I want to become a zombie too." Hearing this, the girl finally understood that Gene had been right. Pao's mind was not okay. She left him there and walked away. Sometime later, when Gene and the rest of the group returned, they saw something horrifying. The boy Pao had attacked earlier now had an axe buried deep in his skull, clearly put there by Pao, since the girl had unlocked his door. And now that boy was turning into a zombie. Everyone panicked. One of the guys who had a gun shot the turning boy and killed him instantly. Then they all ran out to search for Pao. Pao had gone inside the auditorium and was yelling loudly, calling the zombies and begging them to bite him so he could join them. Hearing his voice, his group rushed in to save him. One of the boys, the one who didn't want Pao alive anymore, was about to shoot him, but the others stopped him. But because of all the noise, the zombies became attracted to their group. Everyone ran in different directions to save themselves. But the boy with the gun stayed right where he was, fighting the zombies. He kept shooting them one by one, but he didn't have many bullets left. Soon his bullets ran out, and he became completely trapped in the middle of those zombies. Ning and San rushed in and carried Pao away, while the boy who had stayed behind continued fighting the zombies with another weapon he had in his hand. But eventually, there were too many of them. The zombies overpowered him and pushed him to the ground. Seeing this, Zane made an emotional decision. Instead of running to save himself, he turned back to rescue that boy. Fighting his way through the zombies, he actually managed to pull him out alive. Ning screamed at them, "Are you both crazy? This is not the time to make emotional decisions. Get behind me now." She guided everyone as they ran into the university's lab to hide. But the boy who had wanted to kill Pao earlier was still furious. Ning noticed something terrifying. A zombie had bitten his shoulder. That meant he was definitely infected. She didn't say anything yet, but she knew. The boy, shaking with anger, shouted, "I told you all to keep Pao tied up. Look at the mess this caused. How many people almost died? And why did San have to make such an emotional decision?" Filled with rage, he pulled out another gun and fired 2 or 3 bullets directly into San's head. Then he turned and shot Pao as well. And in the end, he pressed the gun to his own head and killed himself too. It all happened so fast that no one had the slightest chance to stop him. Ning was frozen in shock, and Dan broke down crying loudly over his friends' deaths. Ning sat beside him, trying to comfort him. Suddenly, Dan remembered something San had once told him, that Ning had been secretly working with the professor on a confidential experiment. They were trying to create a medicine that could cure Ning's condition. As soon as Dan remembered that, everything in his mind began to connect like dots on a map. He had seen many of the university staff outside the professor's room a few days earlier, most of them poor workers, including that same old lady who they believed was the zombie leader. Now Dan was almost certain the zombie virus started because of the professor's experiment. The scene suddenly shifted back into the past. We learned that the professor had created Ning's medicine using a small jellyfish. But who could have guessed that one tiny jellyfish would end up turning so many humans into zombies? The professor was under enormous pressure from his family. He was exhausted and working day and night on the experiment. In his desperation, he didn't consider that he should first test the medicine on small animals like rats or monkeys. Instead, he directly tested it on humans just to see quicker results. After injecting the vaccine into several people, he told them that if they felt any discomfort, they should come to him immediately. For the first few days, everything seemed normal. But slowly, people who had been injected began feeling worse. They experienced dizziness and hallucinations. And then one day, something horrifying happened. The old lady felt a sticky liquid leaking from her lower back. Terrified, she rushed to the professor. After examining her, he realized her condition was extremely bad. She asked him, "What's happening to me?" The professor said, "I can't answer right now. I need to run a blood test first." A day or two later, when the blood test results came in, the professor was shocked. Her blood was full of parasites. He couldn't believe it. How could any human have parasites growing inside their bloodstream? While he was still trying to understand it, he received an email saying that the jellyfish he had ordered for his experiment, some of them were infected. Suddenly everything made sense. The parasites were already inside the jellyfish he used for the vaccine. And through the injection, those parasites entered the human body and rapidly multiplied from within. As the professor stood frozen in horror, the scene returned to the present. Ning was now sitting inside the lab, reading all of the professor's experimental notes. She realized that jellyfish have powerful regenerative abilities and even certain immortal traits. They can heal themselves from almost any disease and live extremely long lives. Some jellyfish don't die at all. Knowing this, the professor had tried to use their abilities to create a cure. But his mistake was failing to check whether the jellyfish were infected by any virus or disease. Because of that one oversight, everything had collapsed. Learning all of this filled Ning with deep regret. While she and Dan talked, a new idea formed in her mind. She told him, "If I can find the formula for that vaccine, maybe we can fix all of this." Ning told Dan they could still create an antidote if they used the right jellyfish. But the problem was that the professor had written the formula for the vaccine in his diary and locked it inside his safe, and neither of them knew the password. While they were talking about all this, they noticed a USB drive lying nearby. Dan said, "We should check what's inside this USB. We might find some clue, either for making the vaccine or for opening that safe." To use the USB, they needed a working computer, and that meant they had to step outside the lab. But a huge problem had already appeared. San, the friend they had killed earlier, had come back to life as a zombie. There was no way they could fight him head-on, but then Ning suddenly remembered the gun that their teammate had used to shoot their friends. Dan said, "I'll distract San. You go out there and grab the gun." Ning agreed and followed his plan. Dan managed to pull San's attention toward himself, and Ning reached for the gun. But her hands were shaking so much that she dropped it again, and San immediately turned toward her. Before he could attack her, Dan rushed in from behind, grabbed San, and punched him repeatedly. In the middle of that terrifying moment, something changed inside Ning. Her fear completely disappeared. With trembling fingers gripping the trigger, she pulled the gun up and shot her own friend San, ending him for good. After that, the two of them went back into the lab and cleaned the zombie blood off their bodies. Meanwhile, the other survivors were shown barely escaping from the zombies and making it back into the gym. But this time, they looked completely devastated. They had lost many of their friends, who had all been killed by the zombies. And on top of that, none of them knew whether Dan and Ning were still alive. For now, the only thing that mattered to them was finding a way to fight or kill the zombies, but they still hadn't figured that out. They all began examining the videos they had recorded earlier. Then noticed something strange in one clip. A zombie had bitten one of their teammates, and after that bite, their teammate started behaving differently. He formed a strange emotional connection with the same zombie, almost like the zombie was his own son. Observing this, they reached a conclusion. If one zombie kills another zombie, the one who gets killed becomes the descendant of the one that bit him, like becoming their child. That creates an emotional bond between them, similar to what exists between a teacher and a student, or between a mother and a daughter. They also noticed something else. Among all the zombies, only the old cleaning lady moved around on her own and went wherever she wanted. After she left, a few zombies followed her. Then a few more. Then even more, like they were following a hierarchy. The group realized that everyone the cleaning lady had bitten was emotionally connected to her. Then the ones they bit were connected to them, and so on. All the zombies were linked to her in some way. But one question still bothered them. How did the cleaning lady become the very first zombie? They understood how she turned others, but not how she turned herself. At that moment, one boy reminded everyone that the cleaning lady worked inside the natural science faculty, the same place where Ning studied. They were close to discovering the main reason behind everything, but then someone in the group cut off the thought. One boy said, "It doesn't matter how she became a zombie. What matters is how we can stop them now." A girl in the group said, "I think if we kill the cleaning lady, then everyone else will die too, just like when you kill the queen bee, the whole beehive collapses." Another boy disagreed and said, "I don't like that idea. What if instead of dying, all the zombies become even more aggressive?" The girl argued back, "Look, these zombies still have emotional connections just like humans do. If we take the old lady hostage, even then the zombies won't hurt us." Everyone felt that this method was safer than killing her. Now the real question was, how would they even catch her? One boy said, "Didn't you see? These zombies follow their old routines. They go to their usual workplaces every day. In the morning, the cleaning lady will definitely go to the science faculty to work. That's where we can capture her." They made a boy named Fu their leader. He told them, "We'll hide inside one of the rooms in the science faculty and attract her attention from there. This is the safest plan." The scene then cut back to Ning, who had finally plugged the USB into a computer and started it. Inside, there was a video of the professor telling his story. He explained that the entire disaster began with a project called iSong, a project he and Ning's mom had been working on together. Ning's mom had been an incredibly talented scientist. But during the iSong project, a huge mistake occurred. And Ning's mom took all the blame on herself, even though the fault was actually someone else's. She did this because that colleague had found out about the affair between Ning's mom and the professor. Ning's mom never wanted anyone to know about her relationship with the professor because she already had a daughter and she was divorced. In a society like theirs, her reputation would have been destroyed. So on that same day, she not only left the research company, but she also walked out of the professor's life completely. But later, she found out she was pregnant. Even after learning that, she didn't reconnect with him. She raised both of her children alone. And because she had taken the blame for ruining that research project, no scientific facility wanted to hire her again. She was forced to work as a waitress and a delivery woman just to survive. Years passed like that. Ning and her brother Nan grew up, and then one day, Professor Roy came to meet her. He told her that Grandpa Joe had opened a new research lab and they needed Ning's mom for a very important project. Ning's mom had left all this behind years ago, and she didn't want to get involved again. But Professor Roy convinced her, saying that the job would remain a secret from everyone. Nobody would ever know she was working at a research company. Plus, she would be paid well enough to solve many of her financial problems. After some time, she agreed to take the job. And that's when she discovered that the project was the same old iSong project she had walked away from years back. The new goal of the project was to create a medicine that could reactivate dead cells in a human body. Eventually, the advanced version of the project aimed to revive a whole human being. But Grandpa Joe, who was funding everything, didn't want to become immortal. He just wanted one thing. After he died, he didn't want people to forget him. If his body didn't decompose, he believed his legacy would last forever. For that to happen, his cells needed to stay active even after death. Whatever the real motive was, Ning's mom had accepted the job, so she had to work. One day, when she arrived at the lab like always, she noticed Joe inside the lab partying with his friends. Since the entire lab belonged to his grandfather, she couldn't say anything to him. So she quietly went to the changing room to put on her lab coat. But Joe, who was drunk at the time, went inside the lab with his friends and started harassing Ning's mom's assistant. At that moment, the assistant was about to inject their newly developed vaccine into a lab mouse to observe its results. But in panic, trying to defend herself, she accidentally injected the syringe into Joe's neck. As soon as the incomplete vaccine entered his body, Joe felt strange changes spreading inside him. He panicked and kept asking the assistant what she had injected into him. When she froze in fear and couldn't answer, Joe exploded in anger. He grabbed a heavy container and smashed it over her head again and again until she died. San was with Joe at that time and tried to stop him, but Joe was out of control. The loud noise reached Ning's mom before she even finished changing, and she rushed into the lab. She saw San there and immediately went to help the assistant, but she was already dead. Meanwhile, abnormal symptoms started appearing all over Joe's body. The serum, still incomplete, was clearly causing horrible side effects. Because the whole project was under Ning's mom's responsibility, the blame for this accident also fell on her. The lab authorities fired her from the iSong project. But Grandpa Joe secretly rehired her to find an antidote and save his grandson. Ning's mom had no choice left now. Since she herself had created that serum, she injected the same formula into her own body and promised she would find a cure. She said, "Whatever symptoms Joe is experiencing, I will experience them too, and I will find an antidote." Days passed. Even after countless attempts, Ning's mom couldn't create a successful antidote. So Grandpa Joe told her about Professor Roy and insisted that she take his help. The moment Ning's mom heard this, old memories flooded back, but she didn't have time to be emotional. She decided to meet the professor. At their very first meeting, she revealed the truth that Nan was actually his son. Then she told him everything about the accident and the failed antidote, and asked him for help. The professor agreed to help her scientifically, but emotionally he stepped back. Since she had hidden such a big truth from him, he didn't want any personal connection with her anymore. That's why he decided to include Ning in the research instead. But he made one thing clear before they started. The jellyfish antidote idea is completely mine. Ning had nothing to do with that decision. If anything goes wrong, or if this causes another incident, only I will take the blame, not Ning. He confessed that he had made a huge mistake, testing the antidote on living humans. He already had the results. But he said he had also tried to correct his mistake. Using bacteria-free jellyfish serum, he had created a new antidote that could cure both Ning's mom and Joe. Hearing all of this, Ning was completely shattered. She couldn't believe what the professor had done. In a burst of anger, she even smashed the computer, but Dan quickly stopped her and tried to calm her down. Then she rushed toward the freezer to grab the correct antidote, the one the professor had originally created. This was the antidote she could use to save her mom. But Ning was confused now. She didn't know what her next step was supposed to be. Meanwhile, we see the group of survivors carrying out their plan. They had entered the natural science faculty building to capture the zombie leader. As soon as they stepped inside, they split up across the entire department. Each one carried small red and green pieces of cloth in their hands so they could silently signal each other without making noise. After a few minutes, they suddenly heard a thumping sound. The zombie leader, the old cleaning lady, had arrived early in the morning just like she did every day. The moment she appeared, all of them became alert and started setting up their trap. The scene cuts again and takes us back into the past. We see the exact day when all those people whom the professor had injected with the antidote first turned into zombies. The temperature that day was 51 degrees Celsius. In this extreme heat, the guards standing outside fainted and collapsed. Then we see the old woman, the very first person who got the serum, developing a massive boil on her lower back. It was filled with blood. Suddenly, she fell to the ground, and the boil burst open. Blood splattered everywhere, the veins in her face turned dark blue, and her eyes became cloudy. In the next moment, she stood up as a terrifying zombie. Slowly, one by one, every person who had received that serum went through the same painful transformation. Their bodies twisted, and within just a few minutes, they all turned into zombies. The first few zombies quickly attacked the nearby humans, and the infection began spreading so rapidly that soon, more zombies were roaming the university than actual people. Within moments, total chaos filled the entire campus. We return to the present, where the cleaning lady zombie was heading upstairs toward the lab. Ning and Dan were also stepping out of the lab at that exact moment. Ning remembered that last time, she had interacted with this same old woman in this exact same way. She wondered if maybe she should try talking to her. What if the zombie remembered her? But the old woman just stared at her with empty, lifeless eyes. When the others noticed that the zombie leader wasn't moving forward and their plan was failing, Ning quickly created noise to draw her attention so she would fall into their trap. Hearing her brother's voice, Ning immediately panicked and ran toward him. But before she could reach him, the old zombie woman stepped right into the room where they had set up their trap and fell straight into it. All the survivors quickly rushed forward, grabbed her by the legs, and dragged her inside the room. When Dan saw that they had actually captured a zombie alive, he hurried forward, placed a cushion against her mouth, and shot 3 to 4 bullets straight into her head. She died instantly. Watching her body go still, the entire group sat down in disappointment. They had planned all night to catch a zombie alive, and Dan had ruined the entire mission by killing her on impulse. Suddenly, the scene cuts again, showing the professor. He was now with Ning's mother and had already injected her with his antidote. Before Ning's mom could react to the antidote, men working for Ning's father arrived to escort her and the professor to a secret facility. On the way, the professor saw that the government was burning down the entire university. His heart sank. All of this was happening because of him. Because of his mistake, hundreds of innocent people were dying. Once they reached the lab, Ning's mom was tested immediately, and the results shocked everyone. She was recovering incredibly fast. That meant the antidote was working. Seeing this, Ning's father could no longer control himself. He demanded that the antidote be given to his son as well. But the professor explained that he had only created 2 tubes of the antidote. One had already been used on Ning's mother, and the other one was still inside the university. The professor then told him, You know the zombie outbreak inside the university happened because of you. This is the result of the experiments you forced me to do." He was deeply heartbroken, but the man he was speaking to didn't show even a single emotion. Before leaving, he simply said that as long as the public didn't know the outbreak was caused by their experiments, they were safe. For now, he only wanted the second antidote vial from inside the university. So he immediately sent the professor back to the campus using a helicopter. The professor agreed, but only on one condition: he would return with 2 human survivors. Surprisingly, the man accepted. Inside the university, the survivors were discussing how they could escape and how they would fight the zombies now. The same girl who had been studying zombie behavior and advising them explained that another zombie was knocking at the outer door. It had to be a second-generation zombie, directly created by the old lady. Through this zombie, they might be able to control the others. After hearing this, Ning made an emotional decision. She said she would infect herself with the old lady's blood. By injecting it into her own body, she believed she could control the other zombies through this connection. Dan immediately yelled, telling her she was being reckless and emotional. But before he could stop her, Ning filled a syringe with the old lady's blood. Dunn told her she was just like her mother, running from the problem instead of actually solving it. Ning still refused to listen. So Dunn pulled out a gun and pointed it straight at her brother. Ning said firmly, "I know you won't shoot him." Before anyone could react, the outer door suddenly shattered, and a massive swarm of zombies rushed toward them. These were all students, now fully turned, and escaping from this many zombies was nearly impossible. Fighting them was out of the question. Everyone started running upstairs to save themselves. Dan stayed behind on purpose. He had a weapon and a gun, and he had already fought many zombies before. He was sacrificing himself so the others could escape, and sadly, no one even realized what he was doing. Finally, the group made it upstairs and tried their best to shut the staircase door, hoping the zombies wouldn't reach them. In the middle of all this chaos, they heard the sound of a helicopter, the one bringing the professor. The moment Ning saw the helicopter, she became excited. She waved the serum tube in her hand, signaling to the professor that she had it. The professor also felt relieved, realizing he wouldn't have to struggle much to retrieve the antidote. He immediately told the pilot to land. As soon as the helicopter lowered, Ning and 2 other girls ran toward it. The guards accompanying the professor grabbed Ning and pulled her inside, then shoved the other 2 girls away. Ning was shocked. These people weren't here to rescue everyone. They were only here for her. Suddenly, the professor started shouting for Nan. When Dan noticed the helicopter was here specifically to save Nan, he told him, "Don't listen to anyone. This isn't the time for emotional decisions. Save yourself. Go." Nan slowly stepped forward, but then guilt filled his heart. Was he betraying his friends? Friends who were fighting and dying against zombies at that very moment? His heart refused to step onto the helicopter, even though Ning kept shouting, begging him to come. The girl who had always been jealous of Ning and Nan watched all of this happen. Seeing that the professor had come only to rescue those 2, jealousy and anger exploded inside her. She had the syringe filled with the old lady zombie's blood, the one Ning had collected. Blinded by rage, she rushed forward and stabbed the syringe straight into Nan's neck, injecting the zombie blood into him. Nan was infected instantly. Ning broke down completely, screaming as the professor and the helicopter lifted off and disappeared into the sky. Behind them, the remaining survivors finally managed to lock the upper door, blocking the zombies from coming any further. The scene cuts to 1 month later. We see that Nan's father has recovered quite a bit, but he still hasn't regained consciousness. The same was true for Ning's mom, recovering physically but still unconscious. In the middle of their conversation, Ning's mom suddenly wakes up. But one of her eyes is enlarged and glowing blue. This meant the antidote she received had caused some kind of side effect. We then return to the university. 1 month later, Nan is shown tied up with ropes. He had transformed into a second-generation zombie. Through him, the survivors had learned to manipulate the rest of the zombies and protect themselves. Showing Nan in this horrifying state along with the remaining zombies, the series ends right there. If you love this recap, Please like the video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon for more new movie recaps.